Namaskar, Namaste everyone, and welcome to this inaugural session of the event which is being organized by BJMT along with the Indian Green Building Council in supporting the Indian Green Building Council for the World Green Building Week. Let me first give you an introduction of what the event is all about. As you're all aware that Indian Green Building Council is the premier green building council of India, with nearly 95% of the green buildings being done in the country are being done under the banner of the Indian Green Building Council. We have over nearly 7 billion square feet of green space, and there's plenty that you're going to hear today from the chairman of the Indian Green Building Council, a person that I always refer as a young, energetic chairman that we have in our council. We are privileged to have him with us for this inaugural session. The Indian Green Building Council is part of World Green Building Council and the only council from India to get a representation there. The World Green Building Council comprises of member councils from each of the country. Let's say, for example, Singapore Green Building Council, Australian Green Building Council, they're all members of the World Green Building Council, where they get a collective vision and they provide direction where the world should go in terms of developing the green footprint. The World Green Building Council is organizing its annual campaign, which is called the World Green Building Week. This week is being held starting today, September 21, and will go on till September 25. Here the campaign's intention is to convey a message where they call upon the building sector, policy makers and governments to take action to deliver high performance net zero buildings. Net zero building is a concept where we talk about net zero energy buildings, net zero water buildings, net zero waste buildings, and also finally, ultimately, the carbon neutral buildings, which is the ultimate where we want to go towards in the building construction. During this week, we also call upon to provide leaders that are already taking action to show where, why, and how these are being achieved. This campaign is threefold for the net zero buildings for economies. In this context, the Prem Jain Memorial Trust, in association with the Indian Green Building Council, is doing a week-long celebration wherein we are on every day we are organizing a session which is presented by an eminent sustainability stalwart from our country, and these sessions are exclusively curated from our partner institutions and their students. There are 8 sessions in all which are being held starting from 21st September to 26th September. As an introduction to the Prem Jain Memorial Trust, we have their trustee who's going to be speaking to us, which is Ms. Payal Jain. You'll be hearing from her after this. But just a small introduction about Dr. Prem Jain, who's also fondly known as father of the green building movement in India, for his commitment to education and sustainability. He was a teacher par excellence, a consulting engineer, revered by the architects whom he taught. They remember him, over 50 years of teaching experience, and he had a vision for a green Bharat. He was instrumental in ushering in this green building movement to what it stands today, and his vision was that India should become a Jagat Guru in sustainable built environment by having total of over 10 billion square feet by 2022 when India turns 75. Prem Jain Memorial Trust is organizing many such activities, including Living Building series, Prem Jain Colloquium series. There are also social events which are done, and recordings for all of these events are available on the PJMT website, where there is another feature called Green Know all about green, where anyone amongst you would like to know more on the subject or interact with the industry leaders. That's the platform where you like to be. The fundamentals of Prem Jain Memorial Trust is all focused on students, the who are future of our country, and to bring them at par with what's happening in the world. So with this background, I'd also like to introduce our speaker, who we have with us, Professor Charanjit Shah. Again, he's a man who doesn't need any introduction. He's been a professor that I've known him. He's a professor to me also, because I always learn whenever I'm interacting with him. He's a man with a passion. We'll hear about him formally going a little later when we go into the session. I'll hand over the mic now to Payal to introduce us to the trust, and then thereafter we'll go to Mr. V. Suresh, the chairman of the Indian Green Building Council. So over to you, Payal, to start the session.
Thank you, Ashish. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Firstly, I'd like to thank everybody who's here. Sureshji, thank you very much for adding to our strength. Professor Charanjit Singh Shah, thank you and welcome. All the students we have here, the faculty members who have taken out the time to join us, thank you very much. Welcome to the PJMT World Green Building Week 2020. I'd like to tell you a little bit about the Prem Jain Memorial Trust. This was founded about 2 years ago in the memory of my dearest father, Dr. Prem Jain, with the mission to carry on his love for Mother Nature and lifelong commitment of creating a greener earth. He had a very special connection with students of all ages and believed that sustainability must become a way of life at a very early age for it to bring true change to our beautiful planet. When he returned to India in the early 70s, he started talking about green and became a silent crusader for his beloved India, who he referred to as the Janani Janmabhoomi. At that time, green was only a color to most of us, but he believed in it. I have grown up with it. It is in my DNA. He was also fondly known as the father of green in India, as Ashish already said. And he single-handedly drove this Green Bharat vision and movement through the last few decades. For those who didn't know him, I'd like to share something personal. I believe he was somebody who lived on the path of dharma, justice, integrity, truth, and humility. All that he did was with purpose and intention, commitment, dedication, kindness, compassion, and love. That's what made him so special to all those who were attached to him, to his students, to his colleagues, to his friends, and to his family. He lived with the greatest pride for his mother and his motherland, both of whom he worshipped. If I may express a few words which I feel communicate the life that he lived and his belief and philosophy of life, from Sri Rabindranath Tagore, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where words come from the depths of truth, where the mind is led forward, into the heaven of freedom, my father, let my country awake. Dr. Jain took over the chairmanship of Indian Green Building Council in 2007 and set his sights high on achieving 1 billion square feet of green footprint by 2011. The population of India then was 1 billion, and his mantra was 1 square foot for every Indian. India soon crossed the 1 billion mark, which was scheduled to happen in 2012, but happened in 2011. He set another target of 2 billion square feet by 2015, which also happened by 2014. The IGBC team, the family which was his family, is today my family and drives the trust, achieved 5.7 billion square feet of green in India by 2018. Today, we are at the second place in the world, only after US. So in green, we are truly what we call world leaders. and his vision was to make India the Jagat Guru of green. IGBC and my father's connection go back. It is like a love affair which went on for many years. It began with the first project of Godrej Green Building Center, Business Center, way back in 2003. And the first LEED Platinum Award came to India in 2004 when it was declared the world's greenest building. After that, the rest is history. 60 platinum, 40 gold, and many, many, many more million square feet followed. The Indian Green Building Council, as you know, is part of Confederation of Indian Industries, which was formed in 2001 with the vision to enable a sustainable built environment for all and facilitate India to be one of the global leaders in the sustainable built environment by 2025. IGBC is responsible for developing new green building ratings, certification services, and green building training programs. They work closely with state governments, central governments, World Green Building Councils, bilateral and multilateral agencies in promoting green building concepts. We are sincerely grateful to Shri V. Sureshji, National Chairman, Indian Green Building Council, for being here and for agreeing to inaugurate the PJMT World Green Building Week 2020. I'd also like to thank Professor Charanjit Singh Shah. I'd like to thank everybody in IGBC who has been part of this wonderful initiative, who are family to me and who have been family to the Prem Jain Memorial Trust, IGBC student chapters, Sustain and Save, Adani Institute of Infrastructure, Ahmedabad, Ashish Rakheja, who is also a founder trustee and one of the forces behind the Prem Jain Memorial Trust, Sandeep Narang, who was instrumental, whose brainchild this was and who has driven this from day one, Dr. Hariharan for putting us on the path of online and webinars, which we were all very scared to do. The entire board of governors, trustees of Prem Jain Memorial Trust, and my very, very valuable team, which is here sitting in the background, making this possible. Thank you very much, everybody. And thank you, Sureshji. Over to you, please. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. A very happy good afternoon to all the distinguished people who are gathered today for the Prem Jain Memorial Trust. I was told we were 150 crossing, was Ashish said. We are now 288 at this particular point of time. That's nearly double of what it was starting. I'm sure it will go up still further. It shows the type of enthusiasm and the type of response that this particular event has generated for celebrating the World Green Building Week, and the Prem Jain Memorial Trust taking the lead for organizing the program for the next 6 days. All the 6 days we'll have the events of 9 outstanding speakers, 8 campuses associated with this particular program, of which one of them was referred by Payalji, as well as themes also covering all the sub-themes of the World Green Building Week. But before I speak one word further, is a time for me to pause for a minute and pay homage to the great leader that I very much respect, revere, and regard. And that is Dr. Prem C. Jain. It is exactly yesterday, 2 years back, that he passed away, leaving us an empty space. But otherwise, his wishes and all his visionary ideas are all around us to make us drive to go beyond on that. So may I request on behalf of all, including for the Prem, maybe symbolically a minute's silence in memory of Dr. Prem Jain Memorial Trust, who left on the 20th of September in 2018. A minute's silence. Thank you. I'm taking forward from there. It is after Dr. Jain, under whom we all have grown up in a large way. I myself had the greatest opportunity of working along with him all the 20 years ever since the CII IGBC was born. And as chairman, I was his chairman for the policy advocacy till I took over in 2018 after his demise, and to build upon the vision and not to stop from where it has left, because that's the type of message that he has left behind. As Payal said, 5.7 billion, but he had a larger dream of achieving 10 billion square feet or 1,000 crore square feet. When he said 10 billion, you may not know. And I want to just indicate that from the time that Dr. Jain had left, 5.7 billion. Today we are about 7.61 billion, or 761 crores of green footprint is what we have achieved through over 6,000 odd projects all over the country for covering buildings of all the asset classes. That's again one of the vision of Dr. Jain. Unlike some rating system adopt the same vanilla rating system and use it for everything, for a hospital, for the hotel, for the office. We have exclusive rating system to cover each one of those particular things, be it a hospital or a hotel or a residence or an office or factory, etc., etc. And we are also the first one to move beyond the buildings to the built environment. Again, a vision of Dr. Jain, the first in the 70 World Green Building Council to go beyond buildings to the built environment. And that covers the whole area of not only building with infrastructure, the campus component, the neighborhood component, the township component, including green cities and green villages. And you knew that if you have to connect the people along with the place they live, the place they work, the place they recreate, you also require the mobility component as a link on that. So we are the first one to get into the mobility component. Today, all the 588 metro railway stations of the country through 13 metro companies are all part of the IGBC Metro. We are the first one to come in the world through metro rating. Later on, Singapore Metro and Hong Kong Metro has taken this particular rating. We are the first one to get into the IGBC city rating. Rajkot got the smart city rating, platinum rating recently. Also, New Calcutta, Rajarat got the platinum rating. We are the first to do that, based on which the Australian Green Building Council has adopted the green city rating component. So there are many firsts. We did not wait for anybody else to deal with that. That's the type of vision that Dr. Jain has got. We got to be a Jagat Guru. We got to be numero uno in that particular area. We got to have our own agenda. First of all, we indigenize all the rating system in line with India's geoclimatological conditions, because we are a 95% clear design sky as against standard overcast sky, which US has got or Britain has got, whose rating systems are also available there. We indigenized all that to utilize all the natural elements in a large way, be it sunlight or air, all the 5 Panchabhutas as we call it, to utilize that rating system. So today, if the IGBC has emerged so well at 761 crores of green footprint, and we are completely geared to achieve the vision of Dr. Jain by 15th of August 2022. By the time India gets into that particular period of the 75 years of independence, we would have crossed that particular 1,000 crore of square feet. And that's the type of vision that he has set it forth. And it is also linked with all the concepts of for different geoclimatological zones of the country: hot arid region, hot humid region, temperate climate, cold region. For each one of the particular aspects for Indian needs, he identified the nature of the rating system that's required for the not only the hill habitat that we have the rating system exclusively to deal with those areas, as well as the requirements to deal with all types of buildings, as you said. We were the first one to get to the hospital issues on healthcare recently after the post-COVID related situation, and we are very happy and proud. We were the first one to bring out a document, guidance document in May, with the support of ISHRAE about the most important thing of the indoor air quality and other related things. So infection spread through air conditioning, that fear was coming. So IGBC, along with ISHRAE's inputs over there, we brought the wonderful document, including for water and sewage, because again, COVID related issues were involved. How we can continue to have green in spite of the pandemic that's coming, to deal with that. Then just less than a week back, we brought out this wonderful document of the healthcare facilities. We are adding at the rate of 1 lakh every day. It's a phenomenal, it's a scary situation. We require the type of hospital facilities. Normal hospitals do not have it. Create the temporary fast-track hospitals. How do we deal with that? We brought an exclusive document which is very widely and very well received by all the state governments and central government and all the medical authorities, of a beautiful document of the planning, design and construction of those for all the 3 levels of not only initial care, critical care and ICU care. How do you deal with that, still making it green in a large way? Energy is an important component in all those particular areas. And therefore, I would not like to take more time on IGBC at this particular point of time. It's a history already been written. As Ashish said, the amount of coverage of the market slice that we hold is because the unique 26 rating systems that we have. around roughly 35,000 professionals are working not only as consultants as well as green building consultants, plus also architects, MEPF engineers, as well as the civil engineers and other related team members, and a very big number of people working, and over 6,000 odd projects in the last 20 years which has come. Can you believe that we were the first one to do the residential building? 2008, 12 years back, Dr. Jain felt that we got to start one. He took over in 2007. Very first year, we got the green home rating. Today, we have 16 lakh homes with 2.2 billion square feet or 220 crore square feet of green building, green homes which have come over there. Nobody ever, all the housing that has been done by green building rating all over the world will not come to 16 lakhs as we achieved. I'm very happy and proud we did that. Not only that, when the government wanted to do the bottom of the pyramid one on the housing for the poor and low income, we were the first one to bring in a rating system for IGBC affordable homes as well. I'm very happy that Ashok Lal is going to talk, just like Charanjit is going to talk on one of the component there. Ashok is going to talk of the issues related to the affordable home. We got a separate rating for that also done. We also done for the green cities, not only for the new brownfield, new greenfield cities, new town, new land, but also existing brownfield cities. All the smart cities are all brownfield over there. How to convert them also is an important component. As Ashish very briefly indicated over there, the World Green Building Council, 70 countries are joined there. They got the Green Building Councils of each of the countries are members of that. IGBC is the one representing India there in a very powerful way. Our senior executive director, S. Raghupati, was the chairman for the Asia Pacific segment of the World Green Building Council. For out of the 70 countries, or 46 countries came under that. He was leading that for 2 years and another 2 more years. So the leadership is already given. So, and this year's particular theme is to cover, the theme is act on climate. That's the thing. Act on climate. So everything that involves the nature and using it all the resources in the right way, Panchabhuta is the most important thing, whether it's got Jal, Vayu, Agni, all those things are very, very important. And that resources, we got to capture it rightly, use it efficiently, effectively, economically, environmentally, sustainably. Very, very important. These are all very powerful messages that we have done through passive designs and active design. In that context over there, net zero energy comes as one of the particular one. How can you create your own particular energy through renewable? Reduce the consumption of energy by 30 to 40% in your own design issues, technology issues, and bring generation of the renewable energy of power coming from solar and other related renewable options coming, either directly on your own building or other options there, so that we'll be able to not only use what you want, but also give back. The Cochin International Airport requires about 29 megawatt of power, and can you believe they're already making it 43 megawatt of power? So that means the remaining, all the power need is already covered. There are many buildings which has covered over there. And our own net zero energy rating is an important one. We are going to make, based on our experience, based on the pilot project, so instead of the pilot rating system, we'll make a 1.0 version coming very shortly. And we'll have some amount of tweaking based on the experience we have got in the last few years time period. And we're also bringing a situation that it is not that exactly 100% has got to be entirely yours. You can also, even if you achieve 80 or 90, it's good. So we are bringing it not only a net zero, also a near zero rating. So energy is one component. Similarly, we are going to extend that, as he said, to the water component. How can you, water is a precious commodity without which no settlement can ever take place anywhere else. That is a lifeline. Jal hai to kal hai, jal nahi to kal nahi hai. So therefore, based on that, as my good friend, my co-chair, Gurmeet ji, who is also national president of the IPA, Indian Plumbing Association, and also part of the Prem Jain Memorial Trust, used to say this, we have got a very major agenda, or just like integrated energy management, integrated water management, integrated waste management, all are covered in the particular area. And therefore, we'll have to go to the next level to the net zero water component. How can you do like what Singapore has done? 100% of all the sewage and sewage are recycled through processes by which, first of all, various things by reducing consumption of the thing, rainwater harvesting, aquifer recharging, and other related issues related to the recycling component in a large way. They call the new water. NEWATER, W being common for new water. They don't use the recycled water. Use it 100%. most developed country over there. We have not done for a single state city. We don't have that. So that's where how backward we are on those areas. We still have a psychological warp around us. And that's where I want to use two words of Dr. Jain. You say, if you can change the way you think about building, we want a lot of things to happen in the green building, energy saving, water saving. And he said about building, maybe what you build will change the world. This is one of the very unique message that he has given. I used to keep it on my table as a paperweight with that message there, which was given by PJMT. Very powerful message. It's like Gandhiji's message, be the change that you want to be, you want to see. You know what I'm trying to say? And he also indicated that if you want to change the landscape of the country, the mindscape of the people should change, the people associated. And green building is a revolutionary step by which the mindscape of the people has to change from the thought process of doing conventional way. The thing is, you got to break rules. We got to really come out of the particular thing and evolve new ways by which you will be able to do. For example, if you are able to save around 25% to as much as 70% energy, depends on which buildings are. Our rating system, 26 rating, energy component is a very major thing, especially if you deal with some of the buildings, energy consumption is much, much larger. But lot of initiatives, passive design, active design, details will come through all the presentations. I won't have the time to open out. We're very happy. Similarly, on the water management, phenomenal amount of inputs are going. Waste management, similarly, we have done through the green building rating. Green building rating is a overpowering, multidisciplinary, holistic ways by which water management, energy management, waste management, land management, green creation, and carbon footprint reduction at the end of it. If all the three are coming, the last one is going to be reduction of the carbon footprint. And this is exactly what in 2015, all the 193 countries in United Nations, exactly is 5 years back. 2015, September 15th was the date there when our own Prime Minister was there, where Sustainable Development Goal to the year 2030 was adopted by all the 193 countries over there. And can you believe that India was the first country, and till now, still the only country where your chapter on approach to sustainability done in the National Building Code of India. And who did that? It is under leadership of Dr. P.C. Jain, Prem Jain, who is the chairman of the panel on sustainability in the National Building Code. He is also the chairman of the panel on air conditioning and heating of the National Building Code of India, where I had the unique privilege, even now continue, to have association for the last 55 years from the 70 version, 83 version, 2005 version, now 2016 version. 2016 version of the NBC is the first building code where sustainability chapter has been added as part of the building code. And we are very happy and proud. All over the world, they are looking up to this as a good model, and that is the excellent piece of legacy that Dr. Jain has left behind all of us to adopt all the sustainability practices to be done on water management or energy management, or using passive design in a large way, what architects can contribute, what engineers can contribute, what MEP of people can contribute. All together, they make the building greener and healthier. And this year's theme, as you said, Act on Climate, will cover large number of segments on it, all the net zero. And I'm very happy, and I should congratulate Ashish and Payal that out of the 9 speakers, the nature of topics cover everything. Energy is coming, water is coming, air quality is coming, Kamal Mittal is also coming there, waste management is coming, housing is coming, and Professor Charanjit Singh Shah, my old friend for over the last 40 years, he is going to give the big one, designing architecture with soul, and that's a fantastic theme that he has selected on that. That identifies the respect for all the nature when you try to deal with it. It's not a brick and mortar problem. It's got large number of inputs needed. I'm sure we'll get into that in a large way. This is going to benefit not only the people, the community, the planet. Each one of them are going to get benefit out of this particular one. Any small contribution that each one of the green building ambassadors are doing will do that. Just to inform, yeah, like the 9 events on 6 days, 9 speakers speaking on 6 days under the Prem Jain Memorial Trust as one of our very active partner, if I may use the right word I should use, along with the IGBC. There are 31 such events taking place in the next 6 days with around 35 speakers in those particular, in different parts of the country through not only IGBC corporate office in Hyderabad, plus our 26 chapters which are in different parts of the country. So events are taking place. Already 4 events are already taking place in the morning from some of our other chapters, Chandigarh chapter as well as Ahmedabad. I'm very happy that Prem Jain Memorial Trust has taken a lead. Even though very young, for 2 years, the amount of impact that the PJMT has done is phenomenal, ladies and gentlemen, through the Living Building series, initiatives, as well as the colloquium that they come through of disseminating information in a large way. My own message that has given for the World Green Building Week, that's my last sentence, is igniting young minds. And that's exactly what Payal also said. How can you reach out to the next young generation? Next young generation of young architects, young engineers, and all the professions who are going to come into the market on all these aspects of sustainability being brought into the subject in a big way. That is where we have over 250 chapters of the Indian Green Building school chapters, IGBC student chapters in architecture schools and engineering colleges. They are doing a very, very big way in disseminating information, how to bring it part of the curriculum in the 3rd year, 4th year, or the final year, and also in the master's course in a large way. So igniting young minds on all concepts of sustainable development is the biggest message I have. And I cannot be more happier than being with you for this event now, and more so a day after Dr. Jain's, we are commemorating that homage. And again, I'll have to end the program by paying my respects and reverence and paying homage to Dr. Premji Jain for making us all meet together like this to discuss a wonderful theme. And now that's a discussion at the global level to have sustainable development for the healthier and greener planet. Thank you very much, Payal, for calling me over, and to Ashish, and wish
thank you so much.
All the best for the presentation.
Thank you, Suresh Saab, and what a wonderful start to this event. I'll just like to read out his quote once again. Mr. V. Suresh's quote for this week is, this World Green Building Week, I'm building a better future by igniting the young minds to join in creation of sustainable green built environment. And there could not be anything better by this PJMT World Green Building Week that we are starting. Thank you, Suresh Saab, for finding time. I know you're very busy.
Yeah.
Despite work from home or operating from home, there is no trace. One can say that you're relaxing. I'm aware that you do multiple events back to back every day. We get to meet each other very often online, and that talks about the commitment that you have. The very fact that from 5 billion square feet, today we stand at over 7.5 billion square feet, comes out of the initiative and the leadership that you're providing for this. So thank you, Suresh Saab, from bottom of heart, for being part of this and for giving us
Thank
the
you.
direction.
If Renuji is there, I want to convey regards and respects to her. Payal, is ma'am there?
Yes, she should be here, Sureshji. She's been diligently watching one session.
Important day to remember. That's what, particularly.
Thank you.
Okay, all the best.
Thank you.
All the best for your presentation. I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic presentation. Thank you.
Grateful, Suresh Saab, once again. And our partner for the week, for today, from where we start our journey, is Adani Institute of Infrastructure, and we have the principal, Dr. Vikram Patel, with us. Thank you, Dr. Patel, for joining here. And I think we could not have asked for a better start by having IGBC chairman and then the leading institute with us as our number one the event of the entire series. Of course, after this will follow Professor Shah that you're going to listen to. And over to you, Dr. Patel, for giving us your words of wisdom. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you, Ashish. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Chairman of IGBC, Mr. V. Suresh, our speaker of today's webinar, Professor Charanjit Das Shah, PMJ Jain Trust representative, Ms. Payal, Mr. Naran, my colleague Dr. Samir, other members of IGBC, and other my dear students. It gives me immense pleasure to extend you all very warm welcome on behalf of Adani Institute of Infrastructure Engineering and IGBC. Adani Institute of Infrastructure is established by Adani Group, guided by the infrastructure visionary of the nation, Sri Gautam Adani. The main objective of AII is to provide the youth of the nation a platform to be nation builders. Adani Institute of Infrastructure has two divisions, namely Adani Institute of Infrastructure Engineering and Infrastructure Management. Under engineering banner, we are offering 3 bachelor degree programs, namely Civil and Infrastructure Engineering, Electrical Engineering, and Information and Communication Technology. Whereas under management roof, we are offering 2 years postgraduate program under Infrastructure Management and Infrastructure Law. The core focus of this institute is infrastructure sector, and it is the role model of industry-institute collaboration in the current times. To impart the quality education at AII, on one side, we set up our benchmark of minimum PhD degree to enter as assistant professor, and on the other side, we admit 50% quota of the students from JEE National Merit. I welcome you to please visit our website for more details. At Adani Institute of Infrastructure Engineering, we opened IGBC student chapter on 19th of December 2016 in the presence of Mr. Samir Sinha and architect Jayesh Haryani. And speakers from various industries were invited to brief our students about sustainable development during the last couple of years. Our students have actively participated in CII and IGBC events during the last few years. They participated in International Conference on Green Building Congress 2017 organized at Jaipur. Also, they have participated in National Conference on Green Sustainable Housing 2017 organized by CII and IGBC Ahmedabad chapter. Our students have also participated in National Conference on Sustainability Conclave 2017 and Reality and Infrastructure Conclave 2018 organized by IGBC and CII. AI has also organized expert talk series on green building and smart cities with the help of IGBC Ahmedabad chapter in the year of 2019, last year only. Now it is the time to introduce you all to the renowned speaker of today's webinar, Professor Charanjit Singh Shah. Professor Shah has done Bachelor's of Architecture from School of Architecture and Planning, New Delhi in 1970. He is a fellow member of Indian Institute of Architects, Mumbai, and Institute of Valuers. Professor Shah established Creative Group in 1973 with a sincere approach towards the green architecture in India. He has spearheaded some landmark sustainable projects in India, including the most recently inaugurated Swami Vivekananda Airport at Raipur and Kamraj Airport Terminal at Chennai. Led by Professor Shah, Creative Group has also designed the multimodal hubs for Mega Gujarat, Chennai Airport and Metro, Goa and Vadodara airports, Housing for Terry, Net Zero IIT Jodhpur campus, Master Plan, etc. These are the sustainable designs as well. His passion for architectural education made him an honorary recipient of the Professor Design Chair from the Jamia Millia Islamia University in New Delhi. He has authored several books for students with emphasis on broad explanation of building services, management, structure, and professional practice, etc. The Architect's Handbook, or Ready Reckoner, authored by Professor Shah, is a de facto standard text used across the colleges. Professor Shah has been chairman of the Indian Institute of Architects, Chairman Shah, Founder Secretary General, Guild of Practicing Architects, Secretary General and Chief Advisor, Architectural Design Perspective, New Delhi, Professional Advisor to JK Architects, Professional Advisor to Montgomery International UK, Consulting Editor of American Biographic Company, New York, and member of World Peace Mission of India from 2001 to till date. Let us welcome Professor Charanjit Shah with love and salute. Over to you, sir. Sir, your voice is muted.
Yeah, good afternoon, namaskar, and thank you very much, Dr. Vikram Patel, for such exhaustive introduction. You know, it's so difficult at this forum where I see my guru, Mr. V. Suresh, speaking before you speak, and it really becomes a Hercules task to really come forward and feel anything, in front of your guru. Suresh is really a personality, a manifestation of one and all, who can really give you a lot of information, lot of details, lot of things with so much of passion. Thank you, Mr. V. Sureshji, and my friend Ashish, who are really the great pioneers of the green mission. But first of all, I must say that the word green in India cannot be there without knowing Dr. P.C. Jain. It's not that he was in ICBC, the chairman, the president, but it is into the nerve and the blood. And I could see the works even before the ICBC practically, came into existence in India. And we find all those buildings, perhaps at the time when I am just sharing that he's the man at the time, from Joseph Allen Stein to Kanvinder Saab to many more other, Shivnath Prasad, and probably I would say even touch upon Le Corbusier. He is a man who worked with the soul, and probably that is what I wish that my tribute to the great master, the great legend, the great personality, whom I don't think that he expired 2 years back, because his work speaks of him, and any designer lives within his creation, as is being said by the where does the God lives. God has created this universe, and God lives within his creation. So that is what Dr. Jain is. He still lives in his creation, which has been created, and I could see his soul being practically labeled in his creation. And I call all that movement of sustainable architecture, or the codes, or whatever you see as green, is stamped by Dr. Jain till last of his breath. So that is what I wish to contribute from my side as a tribute to Dr. P.C. Jain. Now I will just, can I put my screen on? Can you share the screen, please? I'll just start my presentation.
Yeah, please do that, sir.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, can everybody see the screen?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So today's topic is very sensitive to me, and as is being said, and it's like an inaugural, speaker for the visioned Green Week of ICBC. One thing I've just missed, for my great friend, Mr. Jain, whom, you just said that he's Jagat Guru. I think Jagat Guru is still a smaller word for him. I take him like Satguru. Jagat could be a world guru, but Satguru is the guru of the universe, and he is beyond boundaries. And that I treat, Dr. P.C. Jain as the Satguru of the Green Mission all over the world. So I start with this, giving him my tributes as Satguru. And now let us see that how this Sadguru of the green manifested the green architecture or the green philosophy propagating into so many large projects as green projects. Today's my deliberation would be not looking into the active strategies of green architecture. Perhaps I wish as an architect planner, how can you see the passive ways and how you preserve the nature and how you have the touch of the soul into your designs. So now, if I particularly look into.
Yes, sir. If you can make it a
Yeah,
slide,
yeah,
share. Right.
Yeah. You know, this is how we used to live. You know, it's like I was sitting below a tree, you know, absolutely natural. You can say it's like a nomadic, natural living. Then probably after independence, all of us saw, you know, a small cooler, air cooler coming in, and we said, oh, the nature is very hot. And let me see that with my technology, I want little more comfortable position. And I started doing this. Then lately, you know, the air conditioner came and we started looking at air conditioned environment. And mind it, the evolution of technology, sometimes we say, is it really beneficial for the society? See, the mankind who does, you know, if you see any of other species, the birds, Siberian birds, they never bother about how to live. They make their food, they make their everything from the nature and never bother. But it is only the human species which is bothered about all technology. And we said, oh, air conditioner. Now lately, the PM 2.5, 2.10 in Delhi particularly raised to 400. And we started playing with air purifier. And now lately we're thinking that, oh, I might be needing even an oxygen cylinder. Now this is what is going on. And I'm saying I'm innovating, I'm using technology. Is this what is required? And now for the last 6 months, we're facing COVID-19. Perhaps still we are looking into the mitigation, but not looking into the cause of COVID-19. We are trying to create the technology as a tool, but not as an environment as a tool to create sustainable green architecture. We are now seeing the mitigating ways of distancing, putting a mask on. All these things are happening. A saloon, you know, again, distancing. A man socializing with each other is not afraid of each other. And perhaps we again say, oh, we will do this, and we'll put more filters, we'll see air purifiers, we do that, and create a non-sustainable human settlement. Perhaps is the technology, is that the science, is the advancement we need to look for. So that is what is happening. We know all this. Perhaps I do not wish that I become static. We lived in harmony with nature when I was static, but now when I'm constantly moving, evolving, I am destroying nature. What is the remedy? How do you see that I protect nature? If suppose we talk about carbon prints, we talk about many more things together, and again we say, oh, I put this, I put double glazing, I put this, and still I conserve energy. I preserve energy, I preserve water, I do this, but only thing is how much is the inbuilt, the embodied energy involved into any of my development is perhaps which is unknown. That has to be seen. We particularly say that, you know, like it's something which I adore. A built form should not be treated as a mass of brick and concrete, but as a living organism which breathes and which is embodied with nature. And I say, yes, this is what is absolutely natural and I adore it. I wish to live with nature. How do you do this? How do you learn from nature? And nature is a byproduct, which is banyan tree in Calcutta, which is 250 years old. And you see all it is integrated and it lasts. It doesn't weather out. So this is how the nature frames out. This is how we create a large auditorium, a sit out for where more than 1,000 people can be outdoor, relax with the nature. And I don't need to spend anything. I don't need to create a structure, but create a nature where I could live in and I can sit out. So these are the options. I'm just narrating this. We need not be nomadic, but nor wish to be robotic. Today is the contest, which is very protestingly, I am addressing to all of us together that the technology slowly, gradually and fastly making me robotic, and I am no more a man, a human being with soul. Do not work with soul. I'm enwired with all the automation and I become a robotic. So the question arises today that was I happy with robotic or I wish to be robotic, and what happens after another 10 years that after all of us really know it. But today is my subject. On to the human settlement would be how do you address these two strategies in terms of passive and active. Passive, I say, when I design a building, I see how I do the shape and size of the building. I do the orientation, how the solar oscillation works for the building, how do I respect the natural resources, and particularly the solar, because a shelter is meant to protect from sun and rain, from the weather, and how do I protect my building from the harsh sun, and how do I protect my building from the rain. And that is how the orientation of the building, the wind direction, the material application, the envelope of the building is very important. How do you create that sort of an envelope which gives me an insulation? One is by way of material, other is by way of design, where I say I am layering the building, I am enveloped the building, and how do you see minimizing the heat gain in the building and maximizing the daylight. These are fundamentally the passive ways. I am not touching the active ways of all intelligent building management system, the innovative engineering and technology, or I say, how do you make your things energy efficient, how all these things depends, how do you address to the energy ECBC code or other codes and use the non-conventional way of energy production by way of solar or thermal. That is, today's topic would not be expressing upon active, but only on the passive. How do you do that? I just take you back into the history, how we used to live, how do you respect the great Vastu, Indian Vastu, which was based on the solar movement. The northeast, the south, the northeast, the lowest, southwest, the highest. What does it really mean? This was fundamentally a small house where I say northeast the lowest, southwest the highest. How do you cut the southwest penetrating harsh sun which doesn't come into the courtyard, and my courtyard becomes comfortable. I can be more livable in a house, and I respect the solar. These were the fundamental things which we used to respect and create our, all our settlement was like this. We were involved in a project in Tari, Gol Pahadi for creating staff housing. How do you create that? I just want to express that an architect planner can make change. Now, this is how a small one of the staff housing block. You see the gray areas. Gray areas are nothing but kitchen, bathroom, staircase, toilet, verandas, and balconies. And my living areas are sandwiched in between. So this is now, how do you layer the building in terms of planning? When I put all my service areas on the periphery, and the heat from outside will only touch upon kitchen, staircase, toilet, bathrooms, balconies. And it protects my living areas, and my living areas gets cooled down. It's a passive ways of design, how intelligently an architect can put in framework of design in a manner that the building is enveloped by the service areas, and your productive areas are practically protected from the hard sun, and I get cooled up. So these are the parameters. See this again. So how do you do that? Now, again, my friend, Mr. V. Suresh has indicated, Ashish has indicated, how do you create a landscape, the wind direction, flow, and passing through the green, the wind passing through the green and to the water bodies, and I get cool air inside. How do you use passive ways of air cooling system? Arterial tunnel system. These are fundamentally some of the things which we use at Gol Pahari, and this is how it has been used. We got the prize award from Dr. Pachori for doing this project. Similarly, like this, another project in Pollachi in Tamil Nadu, vertical housing, creating green areas on vertical levels, connectivity, creating alternative floor levels, the connectivity between one block to another block. So these are, how do you stimulate your blocks, putting them into north and south direction, protecting your building from the heated west sun, protecting your building from the south sun, and you create that sort of an interface between the blocks and create that sort of an architecture which is comfortable and sustainable. Minded by doing all this, I can achieve reduction into my energy consumption, even so to say as water consumption. This is another work which is stuck to my heart, and this is Times Square Mall, a non-air conditioned, layered and wrapping of the mall, built malls, a mall in near Raipur, which is non-air conditioned. It's all based on sustainable aspects. How do you create that? How do you see that the basic principles of planning makes your building absolutely sustainable and green? And you see the Jaisalmer Street, mutual shading. How do you get that mutual shading into your building? How do you see that the west penetrating hot sun doesn't go inside? And that is what we do. See this, how I protect. This is how in earlier days, the girls used to have a dupatta on, and it is wrapping your body with a cotton cloth, and you get the hot air some way through the hot cloth, and you get cooled up and you're comfortable. This is what is happening also into a traditional jali. How to use this? We as Indian heritage, Indian ethnic architecture, we are very strong. Perhaps we are the only civilization with such big history of civilization and such great ethnic architecture, and which needs to be understood. Perhaps that is what we miss. We start imitating the West or imitate the Americans. I'm not criticizing that, but they do not have this sort of a ethnic sustainable architecture because they have just grown within last 3 centuries. So how do you do this? How do you do this? And ultimately what we do, we stimulate the building. We create a building where I see, northeast is the lowest, southwest is the highest. I protect my south and southwest sun. Deeper does not go into the central area. This is how we stimulate. We design, taking an inspiration from the India Habitat Center, how the courtyard has been created in India Habitat Center by Joseph Allen Stein. And once you go there, you do not feel the heat, the summer heat, even in May, June, and July. And you can very comfortably sit in the courtyard. So this is how we played with Jali, we played with the double layer, and here with the red is, that is here where the complete layering of the building has been done by Jali. And that is how, when I do ha, it's all hot air. When I do is cool air. So these are fundamentally the ways, passive ways of doing a design, and minded, this has been completed. And once this was inaugurated, the Honorable Chief Minister was there with about 8 to 10,000 people inside the atrium without a non-air conditioned space. And it was all comfortable for everybody. So this is how the interior works. So this is how it looks. So it's fundamentally, in case I'm creating some sort of a settlement where I respect the solar, the oscillation of the sun, the movement of the sun in respect of what to protect, what to use, what not to use, I can create sustainable architecture, which is absolutely green. And maybe I need not be able to do anything and not required to do much on the passive, on the active strategies of green architecture. This is another project which we did about, now it's about more than 10 years. It's like Chennai Airport, where based on wings, the bird wings, and how you can say that mega projects cannot be energy guzzlers. How do you protect that? How do you use the passive ways also into the mega project and see how do you reduce the energy? How do you reduce the load on the air conditioning for these projects? Now, this is how we attempting to create a terminal building, which was then, you know, like this and like this. And minded, for all these bigger projects, the ambition is always that we use the technology, we have the large span structures, we have the panoramic view, and we do all that. But mind it, it has to be interwoven into sustainability. How do you, this is the important nerve of what today's topic is, how to create sustainability. How to do these in these large mega projects where we have practically more than 20 lakh square feet of an area in the terminal building. How to do that? And that is precisely that passive ways. I do my solar movement, I protect from wind, I see that how create the envelope and what are the various appropriate use of material application into these buildings, which can afford to give me sustainability and conservation of energy. This is how, again, the sun movement is very, very important. We place the terminal building in north and south. North is shaded so to protect from northeast about 12 meters, and south and southwest is protected by a cantilever of 24 meters. And this is how the section looks like. Now it is the conduction, convection, and the radiation is of the sun is being protected in the building. You see the sun, see the rays, and it doesn't actually fall onto the glazing, and the light which you get inside the terminal building is glare-free light. And again, you see the outside car park, which has a green roof on top. And by putting a green roof on top on the car park also means the green roof will avoid radiating heat going inside the building. So these are the various things which we need to, like glass tube, arrival tube when you come in. And this is the largest cantilever, 24 meters we did to cut the southwest sun. Southwest sun does not come and hit my glazing. This is how the buildings can be framed out, where the direct insertion of any harsh layer of sun is not there at all in any of the building. And that is how you do passive ways of development. You know, similar thing happened in Raipur Airport. You know, again, now in this Raipur Airport, if you see outside green, can you see the whole landscape? Car park area is all green. My cars are also parked on the green hard surface. We create a green hard surface by using polypropylene paper block and create car park also, not as a radiating transfer of heat into the building. This is how you see we developed a pond, we developed, the complete STP, recycling of water. All these basic things have been created where I do not say that it is net zero, but it is sustainable in the sense that we recycle our water, we produce our own water and store all the storm water within the premises and reuse it for our day-to-day purposes. So this is how you see the daylight, you see the structure, all these mega projects need to be very iconic, dynamic. We need to respect the engineering, the new innovation, the technology. That is what we try to do. It's a double curved structure, fascinating, so that, once you go, say, wow, what a building it is, but need be absolutely sustainable. And I say, yes, it's not a energy guzzler, but it is an energy conserver. So this is how all these things have been created in ticketing inside. This work got the Greenest Award and also the Best Airport consecutively for 5 times by Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. Glass span structure, open, daylight everywhere. You do not have to even put on a bulb up to 7 o'clock in the evening. So this is how we in India are very fortunate. Most of the places we have the maximum sun. It's not like Europe, London, England, Paris, any place where half of the year we do not even get sun. And even at, that is what is happening, absolutely dark. So here, even the local flavor, the landscape, all these things put inside as an architectural element, the Bastar art, all this. This is how the car is being parked onto the grass, and grass is hard grass, is laid on polypropylene paver block, and this is how the no radiating component will go inside. Let's create that sort of an architecture which is absolutely natural. Let's create spaces which are more green and greener so that it's all sustainable. We've made our own lake, put all our storm water into the lake, or put the solar panel. All these things we are experimenting at our sites where we probably try to be sometimes net zero, sometimes beyond net zero. We do not want to borrow anything from outside. So this is another project now, why I'm saying that how can we do something which is practically to my heart. I'm just giving you an inspiration from Bhubaneswar Airport, a rich in temple architecture, Konark Wheel, Jagannath Temple, all that we tried, okay, let's see that we do something which belongs to the people and belongs to the place. And we say, oh, yes, this is to me. And there, when I say this is to me, then it starts vibrating. It starts breathing. And that is how you try to put soul into architecture. This is how, when we designed this, it's like a Jagannath chariot wheel on wheels. It's a chariot moving as, we go to Jagannath Puri and everybody wants to push in the chariot and our Guru Jagannath, and we become part of it. And here, when you land or depart from Bhubaneswar, you are part of the Jagannath chariot. And once you are there, you start vibrating into your mind, meditating into mind, and say, oh yeah, Jagannath, oh, you're great. And that is, once I do, it means that my building is now a living organism. It breathes, it's embodied with the people, and it is meant for a purpose. So that is what I wish now through the various projects we're now learning to create, which is Indian, which is sustainable, which has a belongingness to the people and the place. That is what we're trying to create. So this is how we took in all the motives from various temple architecture, again, art from Patachitra art from there, and putting the Jagannath at the back of the counters, so that once you are inside, you try to create that sort of a feeling, emotion, sentiment, belongingness. Then you say, oh, great, I am at the godly place. So this similar attempt we did, sense of belongingness to a place and people in Varanasi airport, a city, holiest city in India, and inspired by the fluidity of the holy river Ganges and the Ghats. How can you create an architecture? This is what a fluid shape, a wave-like Ganges waves, and making an attempt for the contemporary spiritual gateway of India. And we say, yes, it has a belongingness to a place. And this is what we are taking lead from intent, from structure, form, analysis, understanding from the various, heritage, the ethnic values. We created this. And you see the Sanskrita shloks inside, and a board, a Ganges board, and then you put the Sanskrit shlok in the interior. You put in the silk art fabric, and you put the pattern, which gives a symbolism to the industry which is growing, the carpet, the silk sarees. This is how the architecture of tomorrow can make, it's like giving soul to architecture, belongingness to the place. This is how we started putting style. And this is recently, last November, we were very fortunate that we were assigned this architecture of peace and spirituality, empowerment at Land Port Building, Dera Baba Nanak Kartarpur Corridor, which was inaugurated on 9th November 2019 by the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. And he really appreciated. He was there and he took a selfie outside, and based on, again, spirituality, that it's... Beg pardon?
एक बार थोड़ा सा इंटरव्यू थोड़ा सा करो ना.
हाँ जी.
You are the moderator.
Hello.
देखो सर, please help. Please.
So this is the khanda. Based on the khanda is sword. Sword is meant for the peace and protection. And based on this, we said, okay, we designed this khanda symbolism to peace, harmony, and we created this dynamic structure, completed this in 4 months' time, a 400 crore project with 25,000 square meters of an area, and completed this. And this is how we put the various elements of peace, harmony, oneness into this. All this was done. And we're very fortunate that such a large project completing, it was like a magic, and we completed this. And how art form, other things, all this was done by us, and how all this has been narrated inside. And this is how Honorable Prime Minister inaugurated this. And this is again, now I'm just going into, I just added this because where you are in Ahmedabad, and Metro, Mega, we were assigned this project for, a feasibility study for intermodality and last mile connectivity. So we touched upon out of 28 stations, metro stations, Koba Circle, Badaj, Paldi, Akshardham, and AAC. And this is what was conceptualized, routing it, the second phase from Ahmedabad to Gandhinagar. And Gandhinagar, when it comes to Koba Circle is gateway to Gandhinagar. What is to be created at Koba, and then what has to be created at Akshardham. We created the same vocabulary of the metro station, which is there in the Akshardham temple, so that once you are at the metro station itself, you start looking into the spirituality, the rituality, and the religious sentimentals come forth when you arrive at the metro station itself. So I'm just because most of these students are from infrastructure management, and today is the time when, more than I would say in the next few years, years, you will find a revolution into remodeling of the railway station. And we are the first one, that first railway station which is modeled is in Lucknow, Charbagh. And we are now doing many more, about 12, 15 large railway station development, where it is like transit-oriented development, last mile connectivity, intermodality. All those are the great opportunities where India is in making. You know, we need to be progressively looking into these large projects as my nation building. Everyone needs to be processing through the various things together. And this is how the great heritage of Charbagh is retained, but also into the last span, concourse halls, and other things we are developing, and mixed use development. And this is how the great concords are being made, where it's like more than airports, and you creating facilities which are absolutely comfortable to the people. This is the mixed use development in Charbagh, again a mixed use development. The redevelopment of Nagpur railway station, where again it's like using the airspace. You know, we have such large holdings of land in railways that is now practically coming in the center of the city, and they are becoming epicenters. So we're creating new venues of the commercial hubs, utilizing the airspace of railway land, and creating these sort of intermodal hubs and recreation facilities and commercial facilities. So this is how the development, these are large projects about more than 20,000 crore, which is now happening in Nagpur. So these are fundamentally now India is into a very revolutionary mode in terms of infrastructure. Large infrastructure we need, because urbanization is taking place and people are moving to the cities, and that is what is required. But never mind, we need to see how we create sustainable development, which is that I do not increase the footprints of carbon. So this is how we see again a intermodal hub at Varanasi based on OHM, and this is with waterways, this is with airways, it is with highways, it is with railways, it is with metro, it is with the surface. So how these are the opportunities where large projects are being done, but mind it, they need to be in terms of net zero. I have to see that how do I produce my own energy, my own water management, solid waste management, zero liquid waste. So these are some of the things which are in the pipeline. Similarly, when I talk about this dynamic architecture in skyscrapers, you know, taking a lead from, you know, you want to be very innovative. You want to create something which is very fascinating. It's like a ballet dance. And how do you create this sort of a building which revolves, which rotates, which wraps, and which is like, but the center of gravity remains in the center. This is what we're doing in Gurgaon, a 40-storied building, a club building, dynamism in shape, you know, the complexity of shape, how do you create that, and how these things are being done, that's very, very important. We made a mock-up. This was a very, very sensitive project, very difficult to make double curve and this sort of a structure. So all these are happening with technology. We can create marvelous structures within no time. And I'll tell you now, sky is not limit. It is, you can go beyond sky. Sky is not the limit. Anything, and impossible is not the word in the vocabulary. You do and you can do anything, whatever you feel like. And perhaps through the journey of my 50 odd years of practice, I always believe, let's see the way forward beyond net zero. And today is the time. A creative group here, whatever we do with passion, we do with beyond imagination, creating buildings which are net zero minded. But we need to see that what is our vision? Nature is life. Life is nature. Let's understand nature. Let's be with nature. We love nature, eat nature, be in romance with nature. And once we are romantic with nature, whatever we will create, that will be natural. That will not be cosmetic. Let's be away. Let the beauty of the nature come into our human settlement and create that sort of a settlement which is absolutely humanistic and realistic, which is natural. And once I create a natural architecture, it ought to be sustainable. It cannot be non-sustainable. Sustainability is only to be adoration of nature. And once I do that, I think everything puts into is nature. And that perhaps was Dr. P.C. Jain, whom I always adore, because he was the one. I know him for the last more than 60 odd years at the time when he practically started looking into air conditioning and to the services, and he gave a vision which is absolutely natural. So I think, thank you very much all of you for patient hearing. I conclude here, and I hope that any questions I'll be able to answer. Most welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. There could not be a better presentation than this, and the way in which you have presented it. I do not have any words to say, but the only word to you is fabulous or marvelous. You are a great architecture of this green building and green India. There are a few questions which we have received from the students and faculty side. I would like to ask you, sir. The first question is, what are the 5 major sustainable techniques or materials which you would like to suggest to these new young minds?
You know, materials, first of all, we must see that what is locally available. You know, sustainability is that we touch the local and we touch the local materials. And second is the embodied energy. How much is the embodied energy actually is consumed in making that material? That's very, very important. You know, and sometimes what we say, oh, I got a material which is green, but I got it from America. You know, how much is the embodied energy first in making the material, then the transportation. So these are fundamentally some of the issues which needs to be addressed when you practically come into looking into the materials. The parameters of understanding is like the insulation value, the climatical conditions at which you are going to make the building, and the material which is being put, or which side of the building you are putting. That's very important. Are you putting it on the north, or you are putting on the south, or are you putting on the southwest? Because if I put something on the north, probably the sun doesn't come on north. So I can do something, play with some other material which is cheaper to me and which even has less of insulation. But once I put something on the west, which has a cleared sun, and the sun, which is hot sun, and which really heats up my building, heats up my wall. So let me see what is the type of material I put on the west. So fundamentally, we have to understand the requirement of any material into the framework of the solar oscillation. Unless and until I understand the solar oscillation, the wind, the climatical condition, then only I think the selection has to be there.
Thank you, Professor. Dr. Patel, I'll just intervene for a minute.
Sure.
Because we have another program starting with another school on the same platform. I just want to ask Payal, how much time do we have for the question answers, Payal?
We don't, Ashish. 4:30 we start that session.
Okay.
We have, I'm sorry, I'm very sorry. Professor Charanjit ji, that was a fabulous, fabulous presentation. I wish I had chosen architecture as a career path after listening to you. It's just so inspiring. Thank you.
So Professor Saab has of course been a teacher to all of us. And I remember meeting him more than a decade, 15 years back I met him. He was professor at a college where I had also started teaching, and it's been a wonderful journey since then. I remember his students always passionately used to talk about him, and a lot of them ended up working with him in his studio, and they carry such fond memories of what start to the career they got at the studio. And today, I think in last decade, the way the whole practice has evolved, he's of course the airport man of India, not airport man, I would say a multi-transit, multimodal transit man. So he's into everything today. when it comes to infrastructure. I think it's a wonderful the way what we see, the way he has imbibed nature into everything. His son, I must mention Gurpreet, who has taken on from where he left. He's not left it exactly, but I think he's still, Gurpreet is now more active, and what he's doing today in terms of creating the the monuments I'm seeing of today, that what we are doing is absolutely fantastic. Once again, grateful to Professor Saab for being our first speaker of this event. And
Sir, I will just interrupt for 1 minute. You have very rightly said, वो हाथी के दांत दिखाने की ओर खाने की ओर, तो मैं तो दिखाने वाला हूँ, खाने वाला तो गुरप्रीत ही है. So it is, I tell you, sir, I am very happy and proud that he is really picked up so beautifully done that every day, with God's grace, there is some success story, into his portfolio. So I am really grateful to you, sir.
Absolutely.
Ashish, just one point, the questions which have come, I know we are not answering them, I apologize. Can we ask these students to send them on a Greeno website, and we'll reply to every single one of them?
Sure.
So I apologize.
Also, my suggestion with the questions which have come, we can take Professor Saab's responses on them, and those which come on the Greeno, and then we can post it back on the PJMT website.
Yes, we
Not
will.
only for the students here to listen to, but those who are constantly visiting the PJMT website. So it'll become part of the knowledge bank that we have created out there.
Wonderful. We will do that. Thank you.
So thank you once again, Professor Saab. Again, for the lack of time, we need to really go back to the next platform. Dr. Vikram Patel for giving us this opportunity to get your students to
It's
listen.
our pleasure too.
You being there with us. Thank you. And Sandeep Naranji
Thank you.
for the whole brainchild lies with you. The whole we got the inspiration, we got the support that we got out of you. Thank you so much. And V. Suresh Saab, who's left because he had to go to another event today, being the first day of the week of this World Green Building Council week. So he's quite occupied. Since morning he had done 3 sessions, and he's got 2 more after this. So he went there. But he left a message saying that excellent start, which IGBC has got from PJMT. And thank you to the PJMT backend team. While you're part of the host team. So,
yeah, but a lot of work has gone in by the PJMT team, Ashish, and honestly, not possible without them. But thank you.
Right. So thank you again, and look forward to all of you being part of the future events. Also, feel free to reach out to us at any point. Go to the PJMT website. All the information is available to you, and that's where you need to be. And you can always contact Professor Saab. He has left his website address. You can see it on the chat box, Q&A box, and from there you can reach out to him. Otherwise, through the PJMT website on the Greeno. Thank you. Good evening and namaskar to all of you. Thank you so much.